Alright mate, welcome back to the channel. So yesterday in the UK we got put into our third lockdown, which means we won't be working on the Datsun for probably 3 months I'd say. So gives us a great opportunity to do some more work on the RX7. Now I've had loads of little niggly jobs that I've been meaning to do for a long time. One of them being the meter hood that goes over the gauge cluster. If you've ever seen an RX7 before, you probably know that the interiors are horrendous. So I actually broke it wiping the windscreen in one of the last videos. So yeah, today we're going to be taking it out and hopefully repairing it with some forged carbon. Now I have done some forged carbon work before. I'll leave a video up here where I fixed the spoiler because I've got 99 spec spoiler to go on it. I repaired that with some forged carbon, came out pretty good. So my plan of attack is to do everything, all the little accent bits on the RX7 in that forged carbon. So less chatting, let's get the meter hood out of the car, take it into the shed and we'll start fixing it. Oh, I forgot about that. That's another video. I'm starting to think that the engine on this thing is the most reliable thing on it. Getting too fat for this. Right, so we're back in the shed. The worst bit about getting it out was my fingers were that numb that I couldn't even feel the electrical plugs on the gauges. But it is out and it's a little bit worse than I expected. It's in several pieces, but never mind, we'll give it a bash, see if we can fix it. First job is obviously going to be sticking it back together. So I will use this VM100 from Easy Composites, which is basically it's like a composite bonding, like a decent glue really. But everything I use in this video I will leave a link in the description. Most of it's from Easy Composites anyway, and if you check their YouTube out, they've got decent videos on doing all this stuff yourself. So yeah, let's get sticking it together and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so that is done, all stuck back together. Came out alright actually, feels pretty sturdy. Obviously it looks a mess, but we'll worry about that in a bit. Underneath, all the tabs are back on and that. So next job is, I've just given it a sand, so nicely sanded with 60 grit. Next job is vac bag. So I'm just going to use one of these like ready-made ones that you put clothes in and stuff, but obviously I will use the vacuum pump on it just to get a bit of a better vacuum. But we've got to make up the consumables for the vac bag, so we need some breather cloth and some peel ply, and then once we've cut them to the size of that, got it bagged up, made sure it fits in that, take it back out, and then we can mix up some of the resin and start sprinkling some of that carbon fibre on it. So let's get to it. Right, so we've got our resin mixed up in 1 cup and then our chopped strand carbon in the other. So all we're going to do is put a coat of resin on it and then take the chopped strand and basically sprinkle it all over, make sure it's flat, pat it down, put some more resin on top, make sure all the chopped strand carbon is nice and wet, and then we will bag it up, put the vacuum pump on, and then we've got to leave it overnight for it to go off. So let's go on it. Alright, so we are in the bag. Vacuum pump's connected. Now this is a catch pot for when you're doing resin infusion, but it's just because of the way I've got the lines set up, it's just easier to use this anyway. So we'll turn the pump on now, and then you'll start seeing all the resin coming through the bleeder cloth, and then it's just a case of leaving it overnight with the vac bag sealed. Open it up tomorrow, see what we've got. Alright, so change your vac bag. This one did not work, so I make this one in a rush, which is not ideal. Got jets going over, which is not ideal, and the vacuum pump is on. So when I turn the pump off, this one starts to let air in a bit, and I can't make it seal, probably because I made it in a bit of a rush. So fingers crossed it still works out. I got 45 minutes before I've got to leave for work, so I will leave the vacuum pump on for 45 minutes, and then we'll turn it off, go to work, come back in the morning, and hopefully it looks alright. These edges on this bit might be a little bit dry. Fingers crossed it all comes out alright, but yeah, let's open it up tomorrow and see what it's like. Right, so it's the next day and it is time to debag. Now I am not feeling too confident because it made some funky sounds when I had the vacuum pump on. So it sounds like some of the plastic cracked, so we'll get debagged and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so we might have got away with it. So it's obviously looking a bit rough at the minute. I think it does this more with a forged carbon than if you had just a normal carbon weave on there, because it goes down sort of a little bit uneven. But we'll flat that back, put some more resin over the top, and then lacquer it. I think the crack that I heard was down here. So on one of these tabs down here, it's sort of cracked, if you can see it. But as long as it's solid now, obviously, because it's gone off, so that's more than good enough for me. So what I'll do now is spend some time sanding it, putting some resin top coat on, and then a lacquer, and then it should be bob on. Right, so it's had one coat of resin on it and it's gone nice and hard, and I think we can safely say that we've managed to save it, which is decent because these are about $450. The only problem is now that I've run out of some of the kit to do any more work on it, and obviously it's still quite bumpy, it still needs sanding back and a bit more resin putting on. Which is annoying because we're in lockdown and I can't just go to the place I normally go to get the supplies. So we're going to cut this video there. It's a bit annoying. I always like to get to the finished product, but I will put a picture up on Instagram if you want to see it when it's finished and I finally get some supplies. Next video up will be the door handles, so a similar video to this. So if you like this kind of stuff, then hit that notification bell. I've ordered the aluminium door handles and we will be refurbishing like the surround in this forged carbon. We'll get rid of that Kevlar. So yeah, that should be a good video. I've already done that before, so hopefully it should be an easy process. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching and hopefully I will see you on the next one.